Hello and welcome to the Channel 1 Newsroom, live from our studios at number 5 Owula Hansen Lane at Tesano. I am Xenophobia. Coming up. Food and Drugs Authority shuts down 44 food manufacturing facilities over safety issues.
The food manufacturing facilities, 44 of them have been closed down. For cold storage facilities, we have over 15 that have been closed down within the space of 2 weeks. And a lot more will also continue in other parts of the
NPP flag bearer Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia visits incarcerated Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entry Boisiakon in Nsawam Prison. Minority in Ghana's parliament cautions finance minister against seeking additional funding in 2026 mid-year budget review scheduled for Thursday.
And we beg him, he should not come and ask of any money because we will not give him any money because the money that we have given. Mr. Speaker, yesterday we approved about $1 billion.
And later, stakeholders and exhibitors ready for Northern Business Fair slated for July 25 and 26, 2026.
Also use this opportunity to assure you that as a team of MMDCs in the Northern region, I will extend the invitation to all the team MMDCs and encourage them to also pass by Saturday and Sunday.
In Channel 1 Business. Bank of Ghana maintains monetary policy rate at 14%. In Channel 1 Sports. Confederation of African Football increases prize money for winners of Women's Africa Cup of Nations to $2 million. Many thanks for choosing us. Let's settle for the details of our stories. The Food and Drugs Authority has shut down 44 food manufacturing facilities, including sachet water production companies and cold stores. During a nationwide enforcement exercise aimed at ensuring compliance with food safety regulations, the authority says the exercise is intended to protect public health by ensuring that food businesses operate under hygienic conditions and with the required licenses. There's more in this report by John Edijibuja and read by Emmanuel Opong.
The latest phase of the enforcement exercise targeted food manufacturing facilities in the Ga East and Ga West municipalities. Several unlicensed operators were shut down after inspectors found they were producing food under unhygienic conditions and without the required regulatory approval. At a number of the sachet water production facilities, inspectors discovered that the ultraviolet water disinfection systems, which are essential for eliminating harmful microorganisms before packaging, were either non-functional or absent. The FDA also uncovered cases where some operators had printed fake FDA registration and approval numbers on their product to mislead consumers. Speaking after the operation, the FDA's head of communications, Rhoda Irabna Appiah, said the authority will continue to enforce food safety standards to ensure that only licensed and compliant businesses operate in the country.
Taking it upon itself to ensure that through the conduct of our work, our regulatory work, we'll be able to safeguard public health and safety. And for this particular assignment, it's actually one of our routine activities when it comes to inspections and enforcement. And this particular exercise actually started last week, and we have been focusing more on storage facilities and then food manufacturing facilities. So that is what sent us out. Geographically, we focused on Ga East and Ga West municipalities, and quite a number of facilities have been temporarily closed down. We've closed down the food manufacturing facilities, 44 of them have been closed down. For cold storage facilities, we have over 15 that have been closed down within the space of 2 weeks. And a lot more will also continue in other parts of the country.
She further urged consumers to purchase only FDA-approved food products and encouraged them to verify product registration when necessary. She also warned food manufacturers to obtain the required licenses and comply with the authorities' safety and hygiene standards or face sanctions, including the closure of their facilities.
As a matter of fact, it does not cost too much to apply for the registration of your facility. Even for large-scale businesses, it's just 600 cedis. And for the facilities you visited, most of them are cottage or small-scale businesses, which means that they are going to pay less than 300 cedis. But you see the risk. If you fail to get it done just by paying your 300 cedis, you don't only face this kind of temporary closure, the impounding of your products, but even more, we are going to impose administrative charges on you. And some can go as high as 30,000 Ghana cedis. Nothing stops you from, as a consumer, no matter how testy you are, if you're going to take any sachet, you should check whether it has FDA's approval. You were there at the facility. Some of them do not have a UV lights for any form of sterilization. The environment is unkept. Algae has taken over some of the pipelines and all.
The Ministry for the Interior has declared biometric verification as the only valid method for confirming the identities of Ghana card holders, warning that the use of photocopies or duplicated cards for identification will be illegal. The ministry says institutions that fail to comply with the new directive could face sanctions, including financial penalties and suspension from the National Identification Authority's verification system. Channel 1 News' Fauzu Masaudu reports.
The directive is contained in the National Identity Register Amendment Regulations 2025 LI 2523, which seeks to strengthen data protection and curb identity fraud. Under the new regulations, institutions will be required to verify the identity of Ghana card holders through biometric authentication instead of relying on photocopies or visual inspection of the card. Addressing a press briefing in Accra, Interior Minister Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak said the move is intended to enhance the integrity of Ghana's national identification system and improve the security of identity verification.
To summarize the changes under this new legislative instrument 2523, 1. The ocular or visual inspection of Ghana card is no longer sufficient. Organizations offering the transactions listed under the Regulation 7 of the LI 2111 must verify identity through biometric authentication against National Identity Database, that's the National Identity Register, or through match-on card verification.
The minister warned that institutions that fail to comply with the directive could face financial penalties and the suspension of their access to the National Identification Authority's verification platform. He, however, announced a 3-month transition period to allow organizations to acquire and integrate the required biometric verification systems before full enforcement begins.
I'm using this opportunity to ask every organization that verifies identity as part of its work, such as the banks, telecommunications companies, insurers, hospitals, schools, government agencies, and others to begin or complete the process to be onboarded onto the National Identification Authority Identity Verification System platform without delay. While the regulation took effect on the 9th of June 2026, government recognizes that institutions will need time to put in place the system, infrastructure, and staff training necessary to comply fully. Organizations are accordingly granted a transition period of 3 months from 27th of July to 2nd of November 2026, within which to establish the necessary protocols to implement LI 2523.
Chief Executive Officer of the National Identification Authority, Yaira Kokudeku, said the new verification regime will significantly reduce identity theft and other forms of financial fraud.
People can't own your Ghana card or anything. So it is important. That is why government have taken these bold steps. I know it will create inconvenience for people, but it is necessary so that we protect each and everyone's identity. I'm sure you will not be happy to see that one day you are sitting in the comfort of your home and you'll be traced that your identity has been stolen and been used for something else. So that's why this law comes into being. Well, according to the Ministry for the Interior, there are no ifs and buts in the enforcement of the new biometric verification system for national card holders. The ministry says that identity fraud is on the rise and its resolve in cracking down on the menace remains unabated. Reporting for Channel 1 News, Fauzu Masaudu, Accra.
Let's head to Parliament, where the minority there has cautioned Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen against seeking additional funding in the 2026 mid-year budget review scheduled for Thursday. The caucus argues that the government has failed to deliver on key policy commitments, including the 24-hour economy, the Women's Bank, and job creation initiatives, despite previous funds allocated to support these programs. Channel 1 News' Ni Ayikwe Okan reports.
The Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, is expected to present before Parliament the 2026 mid-year budget review on Thursday. This is a presentation that is expected to provide an update on the implementation of the 2026 budget and also assess the country's economic performance and also outline some fiscal policy adjustments. Ahead of this presentation, some members of Parliament have been sharing varied expectations.
Mr. Speaker, the jobs that they promised Ghanaian youth, including NDC youth, is only on paper. The 24-hour economy, Yamutu. The Women's Bank, Yamutu. 133, Yamutu. Paying contractors, Yamutu. And every bit of the promise that you have done, Ghanaians are expecting that the mid-year budget tomorrow should be able to address that. If the finance minister come here to this house tomorrow, we will be observing and be monitoring every line of his statement or his budget. And we beg him, he should not come and ask of any money, because we will not give him any money, because the money that we have given. Mr. Speaker, yesterday we approved about $1 billion. $1 billion as a loan to the minister.
$1.2 billion of our reserves is gone. $1.2 billion of our reserves is gone. Our reserves have reduced by $1.2 billion. What have you used it for? Because you have told us that you are not doing intervention and that it is proceeds from the forex market that you are pumping. So where has the $1.2 billion gone? Mr. Speaker, we're expecting that when the finance minister shows up tomorrow, he will show us where this $1.2 billion is gone. Because we cannot continue with this exercise of continuously intervening and calling it intermediation and reducing the reserves of this republic, while at the back end, we are just buying gold whose sources are questionable for this enterprise.
Many of our friends are turning to be prophets of doom. Things that have not happened is what they are talking about. We left a loan portfolio of $120 billion. By the end of the 8-year term, you move it to 748 billion Ghana cedis. Debt to GDP ratio moved to over 100%. When you were living, it was around 61%. And now it's 44.7%. And instead of praising the government, you are here saying, and then what you did is giving us all these important indicators. Mr. Speaker, it's about economic discipline. the fiscal consolidation the minister is doing, it now have a handle on the economy.
Still on the mid-year budget review, the New Patriotic Party is warning that Ghana could miss its debt to GDP targets under the IMF program if the government continues on its current fiscal path. Addressing a press conference ahead of Thursday's mid-year budget review, Ofuasia Yoruba MP and co-chair of the NPP's Policy Committee, Kojo Oponkroma, argued that the government's fiscal gains are being driven more by spending cuts and favorable gold prices than by lasting economic reforms.
The NPP says the government's own published data raises serious questions about the sustainability of the country's economic recovery. Speaking on behalf of the party, Kojo Oponkroma said the headline fiscal surplus reported for 2025 was achieved largely through expenditure cuts rather than stronger revenue mobilization. According to him, first quarter figures for 2026 show the same trend, with significant underspending on capital projects, goods and services, and transfers to sectors such as health, education and local government. The opposition also questioned the durability of the current growth story, arguing that recent economic expansion has been driven largely by historically high gold prices and increased gold production rather than broad-based policy reforms.
That the growth story that we are seeing is on gold, it's not based on any policy. The government will tout the first quarter growth of about 6.4% to say that, the economy is performing, it is rebounding, there's higher growth. This is how they hope to make the argument that we have moved from stability to growth. But go into the details. Industry's growth rate jumped from 1.9 to 6.9%, yes, in one quarter. But if you double click, it shows you that it's on the back of gold mining and export earnings hitting a record $31.1 billion in 2025.
The NPP further expressed concern over Ghana's debt outlook, pointing to differences between debt figures published by the Bank of Ghana and projections by the International Monetary Fund. The party argues that the pace of new borrowing already being witnessed could put Ghana's medium-term debt to GDP targets at risk, and is demanding a comprehensive debt sustainability analysis to explain the discrepancies.
Issue number 4, the government's own debt numbers do not agree with each other, depending on which of their data sources you are looking at. Now, the Bank of Ghana is reporting that debt is roughly about 45% of GDP now as of June. The IMF is also projecting that it will get to 53% before the end of this year. Now, given that Ghana's program with the IMF projects debt to GDP ratio to reach 55% of GDP by the end of 2028, the increased borrowing that we are seeing today means one thing, that this target by the end of 2028 is already at risk.
Ahead of the mid-year budget review, the minority in Parliament is sounding alarm bells, saying that things are not all well with the economy, and they are waiting on the Minister of Finance to provide certain programs that will yield to averting the challenges that they have identified. Reporting for Channel 1 News, Hansen Ajiman.
NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has paid a visit to incarcerated Ashanti Region Chairman of the party, Bernard Enchibuese-Akon, also known as Chairman Wuntumi, at the Nsawam prison. The visit was aimed at showing solidarity and the NPP's commitment to ensure they fight for his freedom. Let's get more on Dr. Bawumia's visit to Nsawam. Let's speak to Akbar Yusuf Komeni. He is the spokesperson to Dr. Bawumia. Akbar, many thanks for joining us on Channel 1 Newsroom.
Thank you for having me.
What was the purpose of the visit? What was the intent of Dr. Bawumia's visit to the prisons today?
You captured it rightly in your news report. It was to demonstrate the party's solidarity towards him and to provide him with firm assurance that the party is firmly behind him and the party unequivocally rejects the judgment of the court, and we believe firmly in his innocence. it was also to inform him that the leader of the party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, organized an emergency meeting of the party involving the party's top legal brains to examine the judgment and take the necessary steps to appeal against the decision. Indeed, that process has progressed, and the legal team led by Samuel Atachia has already drafted a notice of appeal and ready to file suit.
On this particular legal process that you mentioned, Dr. Bawumia did mention that the party would fight for Wuntumi's freedom. What does this mean in practical terms?
Of course. I mean, he has been convicted by High Court, so it is only proper that any measure aimed at vindicating his rights will be done through a legal process. So there are several options available on the table. One, there's an appeal already pending in respect of the submission of no case. You know, in the course of the trial, when the prosecution closed his case, lawyers for Wuntumi filed a submission of no case, which was dismissed. That also has been appealed. And in fact, if you listen to the Deputy Attorney General this morning, he argued that the court based his decision on the testimony of witnesses of the defense. But if you ask any lawyer, they will tell you that it is a fundamental principle in criminal law that an accused must be convicted on the strength of the prosecution's case and not on the weaknesses of his defense. And so for the Deputy Attorney General to publicly acknowledge that in the case of Wuntumi, he has been convicted on the basis of the weaknesses in his defense is to turn the criminal procedure upside down. And so we're going to appeal that and get the appeal on the submission of no case heard. But there's also the intention to file a notice of appeal in respect of the substantive judgment. And there are equally considerations on the constitutional question which the trial judge refused to refer to the Supreme Court. So there are several options being explored by the legal team of the party, and we believe that at the end of the day, his rights will be vindicated. So the purpose of the visit was to communicate these firm decisions to him and to assure him of our unflinching support as a party.
What was Wuntumi's demeanor in Ntawam prison? Is he okay? Is he being treated well?
He was very, very okay. He acknowledged the professionalism of the prison officers. He was in very, very high spirit. He restated firmly his innocence as far as the matter is concerned. And indeed, he was wondering why those who were arrested in the act and admitted to the act and admitted to owning the equipment that were seized were left off the hook, and he was targeted. And that cements our view that this whole prosecution has been politically inspired and nothing more.
Chairman Wuntumi remains an influential person within the NPP. Has his incarceration affected party operations in any way, particularly because we know that he was in the running for the chairman position?
Of course, every member of the New Patriotic Party is concerned. Even those he was in competition with are very much concerned, because privacy of justice ought not to be encouraged and entertained. And anybody who suffers from that, it has to be a serious worry for the rest of the country. It is Wuntumi today, it could be anybody else tomorrow. And so every NPP supporter is worried that the state can weaponize justice in this manner against an opposition figure.
My final question to you, if the courts ultimately uphold the legal process against Chairman Wuntumi, will the NPP fully accept the outcome?
We are confident that the court will not endorse such injustice. We are confident that an appeal process would succeed because, as I indicated, it is a fundamental principle. That Princeton principle has been around for centuries, that you convict an accused on the basis of the evidence led by the prosecution, but not the weaknesses in his defense. This principle has been applied throughout the Commonwealth. It is only in the case of Wuntumi that it has been turned upside down, and we are very confident that an appeal will succeed.
Akbar, many thanks for joining us on the Channel One Newsroom. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. I'm most grateful.
Let's move on to some of the news now. Now, some members of the National Democratic Congress in the Ewutu-Senya East constituency have criticized the suspension of the party's constituency chairman, Stephen Ofosu-Ejare, describing the decision as unfair and potentially harmful to the party's unity ahead of its internal elections. They argue that the principles of natural justice were not observed and insist the suspension could undermine the party's progress in the constituency. Central Regional Correspondent Akwesiado reports.
The Functional Executive Committee of the National Democratic Congress has suspended the Ewutu-Senya East constituency chairman, Stephen Ofosu-Ejare, for 5 months. In a letter signed by the party's General Secretary, Fifi Fiavikwete, the committee said the decision followed 2 petitions, one from the Ewutu-Senya East Member of Parliament and another from the Central Regional Council of Elders, both dated July 20, 2026. According to the committee, it found sufficient grounds to impose the suspension pending further processes. The decision, however, has drawn criticism from some constituency executives and party members who say it could negatively affect the party's organization and electoral prospects in the constituency.
Chairman Stephen Ofosu-Ejare is the engine behind the party. He is the party and the party is him in this constituency. So when he said you have suspended the man just 2 months to constituency election, it means a lot to some of us.
Some executives also contend that neither they nor the constituency chairman were informed of the petitions before the suspension was announced. They allege that the chairman was never invited to be heard.
Because ideally, you would expect that once a petition is brought against somebody, the person that has been petitioned against should be given some form of a hearing. Do you get it? I just spoke to chairman. He hasn't seen any petition that has gone against him. Nobody has given him any formal hearing to understand his side of the story.
Speaking to Channel One News, the constituency secretary, Michael Kesi-Wateng-Pabi, alleged that the suspension was intended to prevent Mr. Ofosu-Ejare from contesting the upcoming constituency executives elections.
So from all indication, from how the processes has been, it is clearly looking like this the constituency executive election that is coming in just 2 months. Somebody does not want somebody to contest.
For the Channel One Newsroom, I am Akwesiado, Kaswa, Central Region.
You're still watching the Channel One Newsroom on Channel One TV. Still to come. Bank of Ghana maintains monetary policy rate at 14%. We have those details shortly. Do stay.
In today's fast-paced African business landscape, human resources is no longer just a support function. It's the strategic heartbeat of your organization. Are you prepared to lead that change and redefine your professional impact? Welcome to the HR Connect Conference 2026. This year, we are diving deep into our professional theme, from certification to competence. Why elevating HR is critical for business growth and competitive advantage in Africa. We are profoundly honored to host our guest of honor, His Majesty the Gamanche, King Takitaiko Churu II, alongside our distinguished guest speaker, Honorable Haruna Pelpo. Over 2 transformative days at the prestigious Labadi Beach Hotel, you will go far beyond traditional theory. We have curated an immersive experience designed to challenge your thinking and sharpen your edge. You will have the opportunity to participate in our expert-led masterclass sessions, including personal branding and mastery, the CDAT compensation and benefits masterclass, our critical labor law masterclass, and the forward-looking SHRP future of work masterclass. Beyond the masterclasses, you will gain rare, high-level perspectives during our exclusive C-suite sessions, engage in intimate fireside chats, and participate in our interactive table talk sessions focusing on HR mentorship mastery and the latest in HR tech. Proudly partnered by CDAT Consult and SHRP, this is the premier gathering for HR professionals ready to shape the future of our industry. Mark your calendars for July 30th and 31st, 2026, starting 9 a.m. sharp each day. Elevate your practice, drive your business. Join us at the HR Connect Conference 2026. We look forward to connecting with you there.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson, Asamo.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Freddy Calico, just call me cockroach.
Now, Mr. Freddy once now.
Hey, that's a new. Improve car. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the action. Me did it, Sasso spray. Mr. Freddy Sasso quell. Yeah, to my
Sasso, come tum preko.
You're welcome back. Up next is Channel 1 Business with Nashi Kasiza.
Channel 1 Business is brought to you by MTN and EcoBank.
Hello, my name is Pamela from Customer Service. Please revalidate your account by texting your Ghana card number to 0500,000 247.
Hey, Abili, wabadim.
Madam, give me the numbers behind your ATM card. I'm calling from the head office.
An email was delivered across to our customers this morning.
Confirm if this is your bank account 100,100,100.
Thanks for sending your bank card details.
Send the OTP now to avoid cancellation.
EcoBank will never call, email, send an SMS asking for your PIN, OTP, bank card, or Ghana card details.
Don't get played. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hello, please, I'm calling from Customer Experience Center.
30 years ago, MTN arrived in Ghana and everything changed. It's time to celebrate you big time. The MTN at 30 promo is here. Win one of 9 Toyota Land Cruiser Prados and your share of over 10 million Ghana cedis in rewards. Let's be your connection plug in your everyday hustle. Make video calls, browse the internet for business with family and friends. Make that money move and stay ahead. Because every move counts. Ghana, let's celebrate 30 years with the MTN at 30 promo. Connect, use, build points, and win big. Dial *530# or visit my MTN app for more. T's and T's apply.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well, and how are you doing?
I'm very well. What's happening in business?
Well, the Bank of Ghana had decided to stay the monetary policy rate.
Give us more details.
The Bank of Ghana, BOG, has maintained its benchmark monetary policy rate at 14.0%, saying the current policy stance remains suitable for keeping inflation within its medium-term target despite rising risk from geopolitical tensions, higher energy prices, and potential utility tariff adjustments. The decision, announced after the conclusion of the 131st Monetary Policy Committee meeting, was unanimous. Here's more.
Announcing the decision at a press briefing on Wednesday, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Asiama, noted that Ghana's economy remains resilient, with real GDP expanding by 6.4% in the first quarter of 2026. However, the committee warned that escalating tensions in the Middle East, rising crude oil prices, and potential utility tariff adjustments present upside risks to the inflation outlook.
Potential upward adjustments in utility tariffs, together with escalating geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and the associated increase in crude oil prices. These present upside risks to the inflation outlook. On the downside, continued fiscal consolidation and an appropriately calibrated monetary policy stance. These should help moderate these risks going forward. Now, given these considerations, the committee, the MPC, by a unanimous decision, maintained the monetary policy rate at 14.0%. The committee judged that the current policy stance remains appropriate.
He noted that the BOG is closely monitoring whether the recent rise in inflation represents a temporary adjustment or the beginning of a renewed inflation cycle that could require a change in monetary policy.
We have seen core inflation also picking up, right now. The last MPC session, core inflation was on the decline. So there's been some changes in some of the underlying factors, for which reason we think that policy, has to take these into account. That notwithstanding, based on our projections, we believe that in the outlook, inflation will still fall within the target band. But that again requires that we stay vigilant.
Away from that, the business community is calling for a downward review of the country's tax regime, among other measures, ahead of the government mid-year budget review. Industry players say reducing the tax burden will help ease the cost of doing business, support local enterprises, and strengthen Ghana's economy. For members of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, one of their key expectations is the reintroduction of the flat rate system for the value-added tax VAT. President of GUTA, Clement Watson, says a review of the current VAT regime is necessary to create a more conducive environment for businesses to thrive and contribute to economic growth.
As you all know, we in the informal sector were paying a 4% flat rate. And with the coming in of the new law, the flat rate was abolished. We were paying a flat rate of 4%, which was abolished for everyone to be moved into the new rate of 20%, provided you are above the threshold of 750,000 cedis annually. But we think most of our members does not fall within that threshold. So we have suggested that it should be raised a little bit from 5 to 6%, so that the flat rate could be, maintained.
Mr. Clement Watson also called for a downward review of the current duty regime at Ghana's ports, arguing that this will help reduce the cost of imported goods and ease the burden on traders.
We are also looking at the rationalization of the duty regime that we have currently.
Meanwhile, the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, Chona Makpelo, is urging government to consider reducing taxes as part of measures to support businesses in the mid-year budget review.
We do not expect no new taxes. In fact, our expectations actually are that we would like to see some of the taxes be reduced or taken off. I mean, if you take excise duties on, let's say, bottled water, for example, it's a big challenge for us in industry.
He also called for a reduction in utility tariffs to ease the financial pressure on businesses and help improve their competitiveness.
We would like to hear the finance minister talk about measures that will be put in place to tackle issues of the utilities, being water and electricity.
Some traders also share their expectations ahead of Thursday's budget presentation.
My business is medicine, local medicine, traditional. We need loan so that we too can support our business. Without money, We cannot fed up, so we need money.
What it taxes to my pay? Or my loan swa and so ye pay. And see, why so or the boy not the taxes so I pay or my loan so I any beji.
Let's bring you an update on crude oil prices and how the local currency is performing on the interbank market. And that's it for Channel 1 Business. I am Nashika Caesar. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Na. Let's do some more stories. The Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, has urged the Ghana Education Service to prioritize the recruitment of Ghanaian language teachers in its upcoming recruitment exercise. The call follows the approval of the revised curriculum for kindergarten to primary 6. Under the revised curriculum, the teaching of Ghanaian languages has been made compulsory from kindergarten to primary 3. According to the Education Minister, there is a shortage of Ghanaian language teachers in schools across the country, hence the need for the GES to prioritize their recruitment.
I'm also aware that there is Ghanaian language teacher deficit in the ministry. So, Director General of GES, as we do the next phase of recruitment of teachers, prioritize Ghanaian languages. Indeed, the government chair, His Royal Majesty, have written formally to me to place emphasis, particularly of recruitment of teachers in the Ghana Greater Accra area, so that the Ghana culture and values, just like any other where, whether it's Ewe or Asante tree or Fanti tree, all of it, or Dagbani, Hausa Gonja, or Kikikam, we all must do that. I've also encouraged writers to go into that area.
The chairperson of the African Union Commission has condemned the xenophobic attacks on African citizens in South Africa, describing it as unacceptable. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, at a bilateral meeting with President Mahama on the sidelines of the Extraordinary Health Summit of the African Union in Accra, says the developments are disturbing and the African Union will take it over, tabling it for its next Heads of State Summit.
The statement, the official statement is that we condemn that. We do not support that. And they made it even with me in a press conference with the foreign minister. He said if there are illegal migrants in South Africa, they have to be handled through the proper channels of the law of the country. This is the statements. But at the same time, we see that these people who are harassing, our African fellow citizens, are free to do whatever they want. That's terrible. That's something that sometimes makes us very sad. And sometimes you see people in uniforms just watching what's happening just next to them, and they see and they.
Meanwhile, President Mahama has revealed that in a recent meeting with representatives of the South African government, he was blunt that the matter must be discussed at the level of the AU and not swept under the carpet.
As the continental body, AU should take an interest in this issue because it has the potential to wreck everything that we have worked for: African solidarity, African integration, and all that. And so we sent a notice that we wanted to put it on the agenda for the AU meeting that was supposed to take place in Egypt. Unfortunately, that meeting was postponed. But we're hoping that at the next opportunity, we will be able to put it on the agenda. President Ramaphosa sent a delegation to me yesterday we met with them, and I explained the reason why it was important for us to discuss it.
The government says it is intensifying the fight against illegal fishing, warning that offenders will face stricter sanctions as part of efforts to protect Ghana's dwindling fisheries resources. Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Amelia Arthur, says safeguarding the sector will require stronger law enforcement and the active support of fishing communities.
Speaking at the ministry's media engagement in Accra, the minister said the government is committed to restoring Ghana's fisheries through tougher enforcement of the country's fisheries law and closer collaboration with industry stakeholders.
Let me be clear. The era where illegal fishing could continue without consequences must end. Protecting Ghana's fishery resources requires collective responsibility. Government must enforce the law, and we intend to do just that. Fishers must respect regulations, and we intend to help them do just that. Communities must support conservation.
The minister also expressed concern over the impact of illegal mining activities around the Cape 3 Points Marine Protected Area. She warned that pollution from Galamsey operations is contaminating rivers that flow into the sea, posing a growing threat to marine ecosystems and fish habitats.
I must therefore express my deep concern about illegal mining activities in the Cape 3 Points forest area, where polluted water is flowing into the marine environment around this important ecosystem. Such activities are unacceptable. They threaten our coastal communities, undermine our conservation investments, and place the future of our fishermen at risk.
Now, with just 2 days to the Northern Business Fair organized by Channel 1 TV and City FM, stakeholders and exhibitors say they are ready for what is expected to be Northern Ghana's biggest business and investment exhibition. The two-day event, scheduled for July 25 and 26, will bring together indigenous businesses, investors and consumers to promote local enterprise, create partnerships and unlock new economic opportunities. Our Northern Bureau Chief, Shawana Yusuf, reports.
Excitement is building up in Tamale as preparations gather momentum for the Northern Business Fair. The event is expected to provide a major platform for businesses across Northern Ghana and beyond to showcase their products and services, attract investment, and expand their market reach. Ahead of the fair, organizers from Channel 1 TV and City FM paid courtesy calls on key stakeholders in the region to rally support for the initiative. The mayor of Tamale, Abu Takoro, described the fair as a welcome intervention to promote enterprise and stimulate economic activity. He, however, appealed to the organizers to consider extending the initiative to the communities along Ghana's Eastern Corridor to give businesses there greater access to the opportunities the fair presents. The mayor also encouraged entrepreneurs and the public to participate actively.
I want to also use this opportunity to assure you that as a team of MMDCs in the Northern region, I will extend the invitation to all the 15 MMDCs and then encourage them to also pass by Saturday and Sunday to see what is happening within the metropolis. So that together we can also extend it to some of them, various districts.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Northern Development Authority, Dr. Emmanuel Aberinga, said strengthening small and medium-sized enterprises remain critical to Ghana's economic transformation. He described the Northern Business Fair as a timely initiative that will help position local businesses for growth, while calling for sustained support to enable them remain competitive.
All know that there is a general saying that the private sector is the engine of growth of the economy. Because government projects, by and large, when there is change of government, they fade along with the government. Very few are able to sustain themselves post-regime change.
The Northern Regional Police Command has assured of adequate security, saying officers will be deployed throughout the two-day exhibition to maintain law and order and ensure the safety of exhibitors and patrons.
We're ready to give you all the support you need for your fair to take place successfully. We'll provide security for you and any other thing that you request.
Exhibitors are equally optimistic, expressing confidence that the fair will boost their visibility, connect them with new customers, and create fresh business opportunities.
Last year's Northern Business Fair was a good one. We at Savannah, we met lots of clients, met more customers, brought people on board, and made some cash. This year is my hope that as we did great last year, we'll do better, meet more people, serve more clients, put our services and products out there for people, and also meet more businesses to create partnership for the growth of the company.
You're still watching the Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 TV. Still to come. Confederation of African Football increases prize money for winners of Women's Africa Cup of Nations to $2 million. We have those details shortly. Do stay.
This is the old way. Let me show you a new and a better way. EduPack.
EduPack?
Yes, EduPack. A GS-approved and supported initiative for all first-year students going to SHS by Prospectus Ghana Limited. Now you don't need to go to the market. All your trunks, mattresses, pillows, including plastic chalkboards, are all waiting for your child at the school. Note, all our wooden chalkboards are being changed to plastic ones to avoid bedbugs.
You can also register by dialing *713*821# following the prompts, or you can visit www.edupackgh.com and tap register. You can also register at any ADB branch near you at a very affordable price. EduPack, approved and supported by GES.
The best part of going home is family.
Sit up! Hey, mommy, my wife is cooking something delicious.
Hot pepper sauce, spicy.
Lizzie Shito, the Shito is Shitole. Lizzie Shito, overfail.
Lizzie Shito, please, can I take some to school tomorrow?
Yes, my son, you can. Lizzie Shito, dear. Ebesu obiasu.
Lizzie Shito hot pepper sauce. Yes, spicy.
Lizzie Shito hot pepper sauce. Spicy.
For bulk purchase, kindly contact 050-168-3344 or 050-155-0998. This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back. Up next is Channel 1 Sports with Bernard Abekuachi. What's happening in sports, Abeku?
Let's get into it, shall we? Great.
The Confederations of African Football has increased the prize money for the winners of the Women's African Cup of Nations to $2 million. CAF's president, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, announced the new reward package during a press conference on Wednesday, saying the increase reflects the organization's continued commitment to the growth of women's football across the continent. The latest adjustment marks the third major increase in WAFCON prize money over the past 3 years as CAF continues effort to strengthen investment in the women's game.
We have increased the prize money of the WAFCON by 900%. It's unbelievable. 900 for the women. And that's why I say to you can make all sorts of promises and say all of these nice things. If you don't back them up with quantifiable, visible, and as they would say, touchable. They want to, it's what do you feel at the end? Want to touch it. So we've increased the prize money by 900%. Last year, when I became president, the winner of the women's competition got 200,000. And then we got it to 1 million. Now they get 2 million. So you win. We've increased the prize money for the winner by 100%. We've increased the overall, the money that so the winner gets 2 million, which has been increased enormously. And you'll get it, don't worry, you'll get it in the document. But we've also increased by 495%. When the current leadership got into football, the total money that was spent for the women's football on the continent was 975,000. Now it's close to 6 million.
Well, let's talk club stuff now, because Chelsea's new signing Morgan Rogers says his close friend Cole Palmer was so excited about his arrival at Chelsea. Rogers joined Chelsea from Aston Villa for a British record fee of £117 million, surpassing the fee paid by Manchester City for Elliot Anderson this summer. Rogers and Palmer were known or have known each other since they were teenagers, having played together for England at the age grade level and then again in the Manchester City under-21s. Now the pair are reunited at Stamford Bridge, potentially forming quite a potent duo under new manager Xavi Alonso.
Team, we've been speaking about this for a while, that we always would love to have played together as an opportunity, and for it to happen, we're both excited. He's non-stop ringing my phone, texting me, and I can't wait. I think that's probably the most special thing, playing one of your best friends, being around him every day is something I'm really excited about.
What was his reaction when you first told him about Chelsea?
He's so happy. He's never texted that much in his life. He's not great on his phone, so he's been great on his phone this week. So he's excited, which is it's really nice for me as well to know that means so much to someone else as well, that for me to be here. So I'm really looking forward to it, really excited.
And I have to ask, the celebration.
I knew it was coming.
The moment when you guys get to do it together, that's going to be iconic, isn't it?
We haven't really spoken about it actually, funnily enough, but I'm sure it will get mentioned at some point. I don't see why not. Hopefully many that we both can score loads of goals, that we got both chance to do it, so
Well, that's the very latest from the world of sport, and I am Bernard Abeku. That's your sport.
Thank you very much, Abeku. That's how we wrap up today's bulletin. Do visit our website, channel1newsonline.com, for information on our top stories and more. Subscribe to Channel 1 TV on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Channel 1 TV. Download the Channel 1 Newsroom app on the Google Play Store.